Hello everyone, I'm Hillary with Dominion Tea, and today we're going to talk about Darjeeling tea. So we pulled out the fine china for this, as Darjeeling is the champagne of tea. So what makes it the champagne of teas? That would be its very complex flavor, which goes from fruity and floral to woody and even muscatel. So where does Darjeeling come from? It actually comes from the Darjeeling region of India, which is sandwiched right between Nepal and Bhutan on the eastern side, at the base of the Himalayan Mountains. So it is the perfect growing region because the tea plantations are on a slope. They're high elevation. The mountains get fog during the day that clears through to sunlight. So the plants get the absolutely perfect environment to produce just a gorgeous tea. So Darjeeling, that all of us know, is actually the second flush or the second plucking of the plant. There's a first flush Darjeeling I also want to introduce you to. So the first flush, or the first harvest of the season, happens in late March to early April. That time frame is shifting a lot right now with climate change. The plants have been dormant since about September, maybe as late as August, again, depending on weather. And so this first harvest produces an absolutely beautiful tea, and they manufacture it the exact same way they do the second flush all of us are familiar with. However, you're going to notice the leaves are greener, maybe not as much variation in color because of that, and it brews lighter. But that first flush is going to be a little bit more floral. It will absolutely be grassy. For those of you who are green tea drinkers that might avoid a Darjeeling, the first flush is a great tea to explore. You can absolutely brew the first flush like you would brew the second. So at a boil, 5 minutes. But I happen to love dropping the temperature down to about 190. So I brew it like an oolong. Give it about 3 to 4 minutes in the pot. And I happen to like the colder flavor because you can pick up that nuanced fruitiness that is in the first flush, but it is a lighter version. So the second flush is harvested in June to July. Much like the end of the season, however, the monsoons are coming earlier. So the second harvest is actually starting to happen earlier, more like mid-June, sometimes early June, give or take what is happening. The second flush comes in darker. So why does it come in darker? The plant leaves have been there a little bit longer. It's also a function, they do allow for longer oxidation. We've hit the summertime. It's more humid. They've got to pull more moisture out of the tea. So they're going to have to let it oxidize a little bit more. But you're going to see a variation in color there as well. What they're doing is separating out some of the leaves during the withering process of the tea just before they go to roll it. And they're allowing then different levels of oxidation and then blending them back together after they've been dried, which is what also helps to contribute to that absolutely complex flavor. So Darjeeling, your second flush, brew it like a black. Up at a boil, 5 minutes. I also, however, will tell you, brews perfectly fine at 200 degrees and 3 to 4 minutes. What you will find brewing it colder is Darjeeling is known for its astringent mouthfeel, meaning it's going to dry the top of your mouth. And its quality is sometimes judged by just how much it dries your mouth. That astringency will disappear with the lower water temperature. So as a personal preference, I'm not too fond of the astringency. I happen to like to brew it colder, but the people who are, absolutely brew it at a boil and enjoy it. And you should, if you have not drunk Darjeeling, absolutely brew it the first time you go to have it at that boil so you can see a true reflection of what the tea is capable of. So Darjeeling also has the fun job of being the first tea to get a geographic identifier. So what does that mean? For those of you who might recognize Champagne and the fact that we call that sparkling wine here in the United States because Champagne can only be grown in the Champagne region of France, Darjeeling can only be grown in the Darjeeling region of India. So it is the first tea with a geographic identifier given to it in 2011. So what does that mean? It means the country of India heavily regulates the estates in the Darjeeling region. They have to be registered. There is roughly at any given given year, right around 80 licensed estates in Darjeeling. They go through their production process. The tea that comes out of Darjeeling is marked as such and named as such, which for those of us who are consumers, this is fabulous because prior to that geographic identifier, almost 50% of the Darjeeling that was out in the market wasn't actually being grown in Darjeeling. It was being grown in China. And so India helps set a precedent that I hope we'll continue to see as other nations start to bring on geographic identifiers to help their agricultural products keep their uniqueness and their fabulous flavor. We hope you enjoyed learning more about tea with us. Hit the subscribe button so that you can be notified when we add more videos to our channel. And check out the highlighted videos to learn even more about tea. And last but not least, you can check out all of the teas we talk about in our videos at dominiontea.com.